Hello, everyone. This is Tanir Zaidi. Welcome to yet another episode of Philosophical Lens. So today we have Sameen Amjad. She is basically leading the commercial side of things for STZA, which is Special Technology Zone Authority. I've been following her brilliant work from the standpoint of what she is doing at STZA. So we would be getting to know about a lot more about today. So welcome to the episode, Sameen, and thank you for joining
Hello,
us.
Danish. Thanks for inviting me. I have also been following. I think the last episode made me follow your content way more, which was, I think, with Mubin, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
So, yeah. How are you doing?
doing well. Thank you so much. So I think just to re-baseline and set the ground, I think we can probably start with the basics. So maybe we can start with if you can tell us about the STZA and your role within that particular authority. Just for the journal audience, I think that would set the ground for the greater discussion on that.
Okay. So STZA, a Special Technology Zones Authority, is a new initiative, kind of new, I can say. It's been 2.5 years that we have been in the market, providing incentive to tech companies, building up zones. We are still new, but achieving good things and great package for the tech industry in Pakistan. And I hope we do the same. My role here is as a manager commercial. I deal with business management and partnershipings, and I take an applicant to a journey till he find a license. So yeah, that's my role so far in STZA.
Brilliant, thank you. And just to, maybe just to dig deeper into this one, for example, if you're talking about the decentralization, since the world is going towards the remote, culture. So, and from the standpoint of STZA, it's, centralizing. So what are the main objectives? Because in that particular case, we would be creating a specific zone for a market which is essentially remote in that regard. So if you can shed some light on the main objectives of that.
Oh, lovely question, Danish. So I do understand the idea that the idea of zone is a bit obsolete, but right now this is what exactly Pakistan needs. So we have a great potential in technology, especially the IT side we have seen in COVID era. We still are a country which would require a zone, a physical zone, where companies could come in with all the benefits, all the requirement of a company that is required. They get it in an infrastructure. This is actually something we still need. And if you think about only the prime city side, okay, fine, maybe we can go virtual. But in rural areas or, rural urban areas, we still require infrastructure where companies could come and grow. And I think we still cannot say it's an obsolete technique for Pakistan, at least.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, since we have been doing a lot of things on the physical files and the hard copies in that regard. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So if you're just talking about that particular side of things, when we are talking about the red tape and the bureaucratic bottlenecks that we have within the system. So what are the initiatives that authority has taken so far in order to support the startup scene in Pakistan? And in terms of the traction as well, what kind of startups that you are trying to have in the scene ever since your inception? Mm-hmm.
I think STZA, because it's new, we have figured out what were the problems, because as an authority, we saw so many things coming up to us. So, and we plan to make sure that we don't have to make our clients go through the same processes. And like one of a very remarkable projects, like project that we are going to throw up in the market for our applicants and licensees is our onewindow portal that is going to be integrated with all the stakeholders. So if usme submissions nahi hai, you can go live. You don't have to go to the offices to get your things done. And any stakeholder that is connected to us, we can let those applicants go through it on that one portal. So yes, there is red tape, but red tape hum hi ne lagaya hai aur hum hi ko theek karna hai. So I think the best we can do is probably make things easier on our side for people.
Absolutely. So yeah, if you, I think you alluded to the one window operation. So what are the support and you can say the structure that we have in place in terms of the resources that is available for the businesses? For example, कोई part बनना चाहता है STZA का, तो उसको किस तरह की support मिलेगी इस one window operation के through और जो कि पहले नहीं थी?
So, as you know, STZA provides certain types of exemptions, which is not just for 1 or 2 years, for straight 10 years. It includes custom waivers, it includes income tax waiver, it includes benefits of forex accounts that have way more privileges than the local foreign accounts have. So these kind of incentives and bonuses that we are providing to a licensee, we make sure that they get it. So whatever the exemptions that are promised through us, and we give them the whole matlab, they don't have to go anywhere to prove themselves a licensee and get their things done. It is going to do from our part. So we provide a one-stop shop facility from an applicant to a licensee till the end of the day. Yeah.
Awesome. And this is also applicable, for example, if you're talking about the the foreign investments in that particular regard. So एक foreign investor को भी online एक approval मिल जाएगा, and in that case they can
Yes,
participate.
exactly. The beauty of STZA is whatever we are providing for the local market is as it is for the FDIs that we are bringing in. So the best part is कि जो एक foreign company को privileges हासिल होगी, वो एक local company को भी उसी तरह से हासिल होगी. Be it the facilitation side, be it the incentive side, everything is actually designed the same for both of them. And of course, whenever a foreign company does, we have been negotiating with quite a lot of big names. And whenever things go smooth and up and running, we will provide the same sort of facilities.
Sounds amazing. And so once we talk about, for example, the the FDI, we need to have the more FDI in that particular regard in the market. So special technology zones की जब हम specifically बात करते हैं, तो एक कहा जाता है कि स्टार्टअप के अंदर एक liquidity आएगी, लोग बाहर से investments करेंगे, यहाँ पे local consumption होगी. In that case, they can take the money out of it. So in that particular case, what's your experience? कि ये ऐसा direction मिल रही है foreign investors की तरफ से, या it's basically still in the nascent stages?
I would say yes. When STZA was started, a lot of foreign companies were willing to come with us. I won't say we don't have any right now, because we do have a few very good names coming to the zones that we have notified so far. But yeah, things have been slowed down, but this is something that attracts foreign companies quite a lot. And we have seen the response, and inshallah, if we have some stability in the government, I think things will go very better, because this is actually attracting foreign investments too.
Sounds amazing. And I think political instability is the main cause. I think you mentioned that, things have slowed down. I know that
Sadly,
it was
yes,
started.
yes.
It was started back in 2020, if I'm not wrong. And so I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think from the standpoint of if we just talk about the stakeholder management, just for the collaboration internally. So how do you see the change of government has any kind of impact in that case? And, for the continuation of policy, obviously it's an initiative by one government. So are the current initial policies still going on? Maybe not at the same pace, but
I would not, I don't know. This is a very difficult question, but yeah, for what I've seen, the government change have an impact, of course, to an authority which is run by government. But that was procedural changes, and we recovered. We are up and running. It
I threw
wasn't,
you a
even though STZA is considered to be a previous government's project, but when we look at this project, this current government that we have right now, I don't know for how
Mhm.
many days, but I won't say they have shown any resistance. We have had our operations soon smoothly. Yeah, some procedural changes. Yeah, but nothing more than that. Yeah.
I threw you a curveball. Sorry for that. So
Yeah.
नहीं, मेरा question, I think it wasn't from the standpoint of political lens. I know that it happens every 5 years, so a government
Yeah.
changes, and in that case the continuity of policy becomes a bottleneck in that case. So just for the culture that you're trying to foster, so are there any kind of local collaborations that are happening with the founders? In that case, are there any kind of local collaborations that you're having, for example, the trainings that you need to do,
So
and yeah.
we have been, so other than the licenses, of course, that we provide, we do collaborate a lot. We do a lot of partnershipings with academia. We do training, we collaborate. We have done quite a lot of events with PAFLA, Pakistan Freelance Association, and we do a lot of, these are of course part of authorities mandate, and we are focusing a lot more on high technologies like probably PCB designs or uh, probably cyber security, these kind of trainings on a high
Mhm.
level. Yes, we do collaborate a lot, and I think you can go through our website and you can see, and you will find a lot of exciting collaboration that we have done internationally and nationally so far.
Mhm. So if somebody is looking for the collaboration, so in that case, what are the specific, for example, you mentioned about the PCB side of things and specific technologies. So what are the core areas that you have shortlisted within the STZA that you're trying to foster? So I think it's basically the initiative that you have taken that a specific direction needs to be pushed from that regard. So
Um,
are there any kind of specific areas that you're trying to target? For example, the agriculture could be the one, the technology could be the one.
so
So
the scope, the mandate of STCA is way beyond, I mean, to justify any. We have, I think, if you go through our Act, para 17C, there are total 50 plus technologies that we have to foster. We have to create awareness. We have to train people. So any of them, if you believe you can contribute anything to that industry, we are open to collaborate, of course.
and awesome. So in terms of the so far progress, so
So I would just
I
mention few names like which come to my mind, like something probably like AI is something um, trending in the market these days, robotics and PCB design, cybersecurity. These are few things that, of course, we consider we need to work a lot on, because, mashallah, we are growing up in IT sector a lot. We have to push that too, but I think it's high time to grow ourselves out of that. Yeah.
makes absolute sense. And I think just from the standpoint of if we are talking about the progress itself within the STZA. So I live in Lahore.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the Technopolis that was
Lahore
initiated.
Technopolis, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it has been in the same the progress is standstill, if I say that. So what are the challenges that you're facing in order to push that kind of a change? Because I think that was conceived back in 2015, if I'm not wrong. The land was procured way back in 2014. So is it also the red tape, or is it basically the lack of funds? What are the
So,
core bottlenecks?
good question, I must say. So it was a G2G collaboration, and
Mhm,
Lahore Knowledge Park was the actual company behind it. And yes, they got the license.
mhm,
I think there have been some procedural delays from their end. Of course, it's a government entity.
mhm,
So I think they can answer better. Like, I mean, what are they actually lacking at? But yeah, it's procedural delay. I think their seniors have resigned and something like that. So I mean, it's that procedural delay. We have more coming in Lahore, which are private entities, of course, not just government.
Mhm.
And you will not see such delays probably in their cases.
Awesome. So if you can talk about some more, for example, the new which are coming to Lahore or any other places, people
So,
would
I
like to
mean,
know.
right now they're in pipeline. I mean, like very close to coming out. So I would
Mhm.
not name those, but it very, very soon. I mean, you will hear a few
Sure
names
thing.
from Lahore to be notified as zone. Some of them could be ready to build infrastructure where companies can just come and move and work. So our delays are
Okay.
probably because we have notified zones which which needs to be developed. They're raw land and they have to make their own infrastructure. So that will, even if you start on time, right? अगर मैं आज से भी काम करूं, तो I
Mhm.
cannot construct something within any less than I think 2 years. So I
Mhm.
mean that is one of the drawbacks too. But we are looking towards notifying ready to build infrastructure so that वो जो delay है construction वो हमें face ना करना पड़े.
Sure thing. And are there any kind of rented properties as well? So if you're talking about the private-public partnership, in that case, the private can, go in and
So
just rent some kind of a property, just like co-working spaces that we have.
बिल्कुल. So I mean इसमें private companies का involvement through land भी हो सकता है, of course. अगर मेरी if I have a building which qualifies SDZA's criteria, I can
Mhm.
notify that as a zone.
Mhm.
That is one way a private entity can come in as a zone developer, and of course private companies will come and rent that space out. So yeah,
Mhm.
that
And
is going to be a rental model for office spaces.
sure thing. And what's the criteria for, you mentioned about the criteria. So if you
So we
don't
have a
mind me
couple of
asking.
criterias, but I think the minimum criteria that you have to see before starting anything would be the landmark. We
Mhm.
require minimum 5 acre land,
Mhm.
or if it's a building, it has to be, I think, 250,000 square feet tall.
Mhm.
So yeah, this is like minimum criteria to start the application with, and then comes a few list.
Mhm.
Yeah, that I can provide a link because it's going to be too long for you,
Sure
but
thing.
you
Yeah, I
can
think
add
it's
those
not.
things in your session.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. And I think just question, maybe, just to break the chain. Are So if we talk about the regulation, so
Mhm.
if we say that, for example, if we build a authority within Pakistan, in that case, things slow down by the sense of it. People see authority, and in that case, they see that things would be slower. So are we pushing for the tighter regulation in this particular case, or are we trying to deregulate? Because obviously, uh, if you are trying to build, for example, if you mentioned about the 5 acres of land, in my opinion,
Mhm.
that's basically the world is going towards the vertical. So I think the horizontal versus
We have
vertical is
that
always a
option
debate.
too, right? We have that option too.
So,
So do you think that land parcel is bigger than it should be?
yeah, I think so. I think just for the collaboration bit, I think it could be in a smaller space as well, which is vertical. Maybe just to cut down onto the you can say the initiative itself, uh,
Mhm.
the initial inertia of starting anything. I think maybe we can start with a smaller zone and
Mhm.
scale it up.
So the idea of a zone is not first of all we have that vertical option.
Mhm.
Vertical option
Okay.
में आपकी बिल्डिंग हो सकती है. uh,
Say it.
uh, अगर वो बिल्डिंग भी हम नोटिफाई कर सकते हैं अगर वो 2,50,000 2,50,000 स्क्वायर फीट above हो, because
Mhm.
we don't want to make small spaces, we want to make slight bit of a ecosystem, right? You can't just limit it into 3 floors. We want
Mhm.
different companies to come in, uh, collaborate with each other. build each other's, make things easier for each other. And you just don't want to facilitate people in tree building. I guess that was the idea behind it. I believe so. But yeah, we do have vertical options as well as the land parcel. But we want to keep it big because we want to create an ecosystem. And as you have seen internationally, how Science Park actually works, it turns out to be a city at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that was the idea behind it.
So just in comparison to the other examples in the market. So for example, if we talk about India, we talk about Taiwan, we talk about Singapore, and there's also a California, the Silicon Valley that we talk about.
Yes.
So I think what are the differences that you feel? For example, obviously I'm basically shooting the star in that case, but there could be certain differences that you're seeing in this particular market versus India, for example. I think that's a easily comparable case.
So एक फायदा थोड़ा लेट होने का ये होता है कि आप चीजों को बेंचमार्क कर सकते हैं with people's their failures and their success. So of course, when we are talking about zones, we want to keep that at the highest in standard. And I mean, if I talk about our flagship project that we are going to do ourselves is iTechnopolis, and that is what our idea is. Behind it is exactly like this. I mean, we want to build it a zone, and then we want to make clusters and grow bigger. And if we try to compare them with previously what they were providing and what we have been providing as STZA, we have made sure that the incentives that we provide exceeds all sort of incentives that were provided in previous project like ours. And of course, our standards, we have benchmarked our standards. And I think with time, people will get to see what is our plan, and it's going to surprise, inshallah, everyone if things goes out the right and smooth way.
Sure.
Because when we talk about even notifying other people's zones, we have a certain benchmark that we have created for the developers who built our infrastructure for the companies. And of course, I can't show you my many things because it's just 2.5 years. But with time, you will eventually see how we make sure that whatever they promise, they provide.
So yeah. And I think you mentioned about Lahore. So are we starting any other zones as well? So maybe, the peripheries, for example, the cities which don't get any kind of traction from, the policy lens. For example, if we talk about
as
Multan.
I told you that we have a lot of companies in pipeline that we are going to notify in Lahore. And because they're still in the process.
Sorry to interject. The question is basically if we are trying, so I think we talked about Lahore, but for example, if we are trying to start more technology zones, are we targeting the smaller cities as well? So for example, Multan is one, Faisalabad is second.
Of course. We have applications from these rural urban areas too, as I think as rural as Balochistan, as rural as Gilgit-Baltistan, as I mean, I won't call that rural, but yeah, I mean, we have been getting response from all the provinces, all type of cities, Multan included, Thatta included. So yeah. We, I mean, they need that opportunity way more than the urban areas, I guess.
Yeah, I think the peri-urban needs more opportunities because obviously they are deprived in that particular regard. If I talk about Multan, because I lived in Multan as well, so I think a lot needs to be done in that particular area, and it has a lot of potential.
Exactly, it does.
So I think I would go towards, for example, if we talk about the international businesses, what particular advice would you give to them in terms of investing in Pakistan? For example, the landscape of investment that you're seeing, especially in this particular year or overall?
Okay. I think Pakistan has a lot of potential. When we talk about Pakistan, we know, like, I mean, probably this is a very general knowledge for everyone now, that Pakistan has the largest population of youth. So
Mhm.
for even foreign companies to come to Pakistan and train and make their own resources, Pakistan would still be the cheapest country to invest in. I would just say go through their, go through market research. There's a lot of potential. Pakistanis are doing great, but I think they don't have that set of avenue to show themselves out. And when I talk about STZN applicants, I personally try to try to make those companies empowers who are local and have potential. And Pakistan can collaborate with any international companies in their own, but in each sector you will have at least one good name. So yeah, Pakistan has a lot of opportunity. And when it comes to tech, I'm not talking about IT only, because we think tech is IT only. We have to grow out of it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have been facilitating foreign companies, so we know. And inshallah, with stability, with time, Pakistan can never disappoint a foreign investor. Pakistan have a lot of good skills.
बिल्कुल सही बात है. I totally agree on that front. And I think एक जो potential, क्योंकि I'm been working with the foreign companies as well. So एक जो particular problem आता है ना, they say that there is a reskilling problem. So things are slower, and जो यहाँ पे university graduates हैं, उनके पास उस किस्म के skills नहीं है जो international market में है. So I think there
हमारे
is a gap.
कोर्सेज, हमारी एजुकेशन में हमारी जो कोर्सेज हैं, टेक्नोलॉजी दानिश इतनी जल्दी जल्दी ऑब्सोलीट होती है कि हम उसका करिकुलम 10 साल पुराना अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं. और
सही
ये
बात है.
चीज हमारी यूनिवर्सिटीज को रियलाइज करना जरूरी है कि जो कंप्यूटर साइंसेज रिप्रेजेंट करते हैं, एटलीस्ट वो ऑब्सोलीट ना हो, वो हर साल अपना सिलेबस अपडेट करें, बिकॉज दैट्स द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. बट या दैट्स अ सैड रियलिटी. बट हमारे अंदर में वही बात है, पोटेंशियल है, लेकिन हमें वो एवेन्यूज ही नहीं क्रिएट किए जाते ना एज अ स्टूडेंट भी. इसीलिए मैं कहती हूँ कि अगर किसी फॉरेन कंपनी को पाकिस्तान आके ट्रेन भी करना पड़े अपने एम्प्लॉइज को, तो वो तब भी, आई मीन, दे विल not get disappointed. We have the
So I
potential. And
absolutely agree. And I think just for the proactive policy itself, are you doing any kind of collaborations with the universities as well? Because obviously for the
yes,
reskilling.
we are very closely connected with AGC and other universities, and we do a lot of sessions and interactions with their senior management. And yes, and when we talk about special technology zones, so our triple helix model, industry, academia, and government. So we have to work together to make sure we go right. And we highly recommend, हमारे zones को notify नहीं किया जा सकता तब तक जब तक उस area में करीब कोई university now, and they facilitate those university students and create jobs for them. So it's very, very important.
Makes absolute sense. We talked about the proactive policy with collaboration of universities. Are there any kind of incentives for the the companies that are looking to invest in Pakistan so that they can invest in the local labor? Obviously, there is an overarching incentive of taxation, for example, but on that particular bit, on that particular TNET, are there any kind of incentives that are being offered so that they can reskill the local labor?
So for skill set and trainings, of course, so we have incentives, which is very shiny and bright if you go through it. And it's the same for everyone. So if you are a
Right.
training company and you give the skill set of technology, तो आपके पास आपको भी वही incentives दिए जाएंगे जो हर टेक कंपनीज को मिलते हैं. तो और दानिश, if you go through our incentives, it's very beautiful. I mean, it's a game changer. So yes, for training companies who want to come in Pakistan and upgrade the skill set of people, अगर वो tech से related है, because हमारी एक limitation है कि we are technology only, so we do give them incentives. Yeah, they qualify.
Yeah, I think so. I think you have the technology slice, you mentioned that, but you are also trying to target which are the local businesses which are utilizing technology but are basically conventional in that nature. Is that the right understanding?
Uh, I think we after COVID we realized that local market और उनको incentivize करने का time आ चुका है. I mean हमारे यहाँ एक event में मैं गई थी और उस पे it was a mobile phone event and that guy on the stall had this plastic wrapped in the phone and he said ये plastic जो है ना मैडम ये भी हम बाहर से मंगाते हैं. तो ये भी पाकिस्तान में नहीं बनता. The kind of plastic that we require, it's just a cover that is going to be in the dustbin, but वो भी हमारे पास उसकी भी नहीं है. तो of course this is going. We want the local market and local businesses to grow, and inshallah with time, if they plan on manufacturing, and of course हम उनको भी incentivize करेंगे. बल्कि I think in last 2.5 years the most we have facilitators are the local businesses.
As long as they're using technology, so I think
as
that
long
makes
as
a
they
lot.
want to change, we welcome them. Yeah.
So I think just for the supply chain innovation, I think in of itself,
Exactly.
it's also part of the efficiency that we drive through the technology.
Mhm.
So I think what are the long-term goals that you see for the Pakistan Special Technology Zone Authority? Is there any kind of a vision pipeline that you're trying to target? Maybe a collaboration with the regional other players that we have. Maybe a collaboration with the cars city, countries that we have, or the Iranian market, or the Indian market. I think Chinese have a lot of value addition to have. So
yes, they do. So when you try to compare yourself, I think first हमें अपने आप से ही compare करना चाहिए अपने आप को कि आप पहले कैसे थे और आप कैसे improve करते हैं. उसके बाद of course we our long term goals are actually to bring in high tech manufacturing, of course, and high technology design companies and such sort of technology. But I think that comes with time. Like we support small companies, small technologies, and they outgrow themselves. So our long-term plan is also localization of so many things that we literally can have in Pakistan, and bringing in bigger companies for them to support the companies over here. That has to be our goal, I think, now and even after 10 years. And let's change Pakistan together.
Makes absolute sense. And I think one last question. So you talked about the localization.
Yeah.
So are you a proponent of protectionism? So protectionism is basically you protect the local goods until they become better and compete with the international market. The second approach is that we have the local competition and allow the international competition as well. So what are the
no, I think
that
in any way we would want them to compete with each other and internationally as well. I mean, they should grow them out to compete with international market, and that is of course what we desire. But competition is never bad.
Makes absolute sense.
But yeah,
I think that
internationally,
sure thing. I just wanted to get your opinion about protectionism versus the free market, where we allow the competition to happen, and in that case the products
yes, we
improve.
do want them to compete with each other. यहाँ पे तो monopoly इतनी ज़्यादा है, अनिश, हर चीज में कोई एक ही सबसे आगे है और शायद वही है. So this thing needs to stop. I mean, one should compete with each other so that they upgrade their quality standards, and of course, why not internationally? That should be our only object, I guess.
Makes sense. Awesome. So I think we are closer to the time. Any last thoughts that you would like to give to the audience?
I think I'm too bad with giving advices. So I would just want to, I mean, like using your platform, probably promote one last time that if any company wants to grow actually, and then of course wants to be part of STZA and part of the project that we want to change Pakistan and how it is,
Mhm.
contact us and we can collaborate, or we can provide you amazing incentives. And yeah, technology can change the world. We have seen it happening in so many countries,
Yeah,
and let's give it a try.
makes absolute sense. Thank you so much, Sameen. I think that was a great session in of itself. I
Thanks.
got to learn a lot from the different perspectives that you have mentioned. I think people would be. I think it's still a nascent concept for many Pakistanis. So I think just wanted to highlight that. So thank you so much once again for coming.
Thank you,
People
Danish. Thank you.